No, I didn't become a student at that point. That was when I had my band, The Light, and after I moved to the West End, and so I was doing that. I was just, we went on a business thing where we made our band into a business. So for a year we got 25 quid a week off the government. We got our rent paid, and we managed that way for about a year. And then after that we just kind of, oh, I don't know, man. In those days it was easier to kind of keep something going for a while that you didn't have to get a job, you know. They weren't too upset about it. They would actually help you do wee courses and stuff like that. I remember that, the unemployment kind of thing. You could stay unemployed for a few years, you know. It's a lot harder now, but yeah. It was a kind of culture back then up in the West End. You would get these people and we would all be staying in bed sits and we would all smoke a wee bit of hash and kind of gossip about each other, envy each other, hang about with each other, just kids, you know. And so I ended up in the flat, and so I decided I was going to start doing something. And I was going to start studying theology. So I went to an entrance course in Glasgow University for a year, and I done quite well at that. It was good. It introduced me to a few things, philosophy, and it also introduced me to the fact that modern theology is it's not for the faint-hearted. It's not for people that want to kind of look for God or anything like that. It's completely to do with the mechanism of faith, of religion. What would you call it? Dogmatic religion, that kind of thing. You know, you look into it and you see how it came about. And you see, is there proof of this, is there proof of that? One of the lecturers was a woman called Mona Siddiqui, who's quite famous now. She's on Radio 4, you hear her on The Moral Maze, which I cannot listen to. Most of Radio 4 I cannot listen to. It's too, man. Yeah, they like to talk. I mean, I know that's good coming from me, right? I know that's good coming, but yeah, it's different because this is me talking, and I'm listening to me talking. But if I want to listen to something else, I want to hear somebody. No, be smart. Don't be smarmy. Don't try and be fucking funny all the time. What's that thing where everybody wants to be a comedian, right? You got every presenter, every newsreader, they're now having to crack jokes and all that. And some of the poor bastards aren't funny and they just end up falling in their face. But no, producers told them, no, you got to crack a joke, come on. What, crack a Michael McIntyre joke or something? But I veered off a bit there, didn't I? So, yeah. I think what kind of put me off that whole thing was I got back into the rock and roll again, didn't I? Happens every time, you know. Man, you think you're doing alright. No, that's when I hadn't even touched the guitar for about 3 years up to that point. I was going out with this woman who just demanded every moment of attention, and I was quite willing to give it because I was stupid that way. I was in love and everything, you know, and I gave up my band and everything and blah blah. And then the relationship started getting bad. So then I went to university. Started this university course on theology. She's like, what's that? What, you gotta be a priest or something? Fuck, am I gotta be married to a fucking... I goes, no, I don't know, well, you know, I'll take any job going, I'll tell anybody what they want to hear, baby, you know what I mean? I'd be good at that, wouldn't I? I'd be good at that, you know? Come to my door, I'll sort you out. Yeah. 5 of these and 2 of these. So done this course, and it was wonderful. It made me look at how when a religion starts off, it always starts off as something quite exciting, something quite new, something quite different, you know, something quite useful. And then you discover the history as it goes on. It gets a bit kind of, and then the more popular it becomes, the more they have to keep compromising. And the best one at that was Christianity. That was able to assimilate whatever it came across. It would say, oh well, that's related to the moon, right? The moon's related to the Holy Mother, because that's the female kind of goddess. The goddess of the moon was female to the so-called pagans. I call them pre-Christians, you know. If anybody asks me what faith I'm into, I always say I'm merely a pre-Christian, you know. I'm merely a pre-Christian. And they go, what's that? I go, well, that's just basically quite a lot of things, but in this part of the world, being a pre-Christian meant you were kind of more like of the kind of Norse kind of nature religion kind of thing. There's a word for it among anthropologists and theologians. It's called animism. It's when anthropologists were studying tribes in the jungle, they were studying their religions mainly, you know. That was one of the main things they were studying about them. And they called these religions animistic, right? Animism, meaning the word animal comes from the fact that it moves, right? Animate. Something's animating that, right? Well, the animate, what you call an animistic religion, is to do with the force behind what is moving things, you know? And that can often be like a huge god up in the sky with a big hammer or something, making planets, right? Or it can be wee fairies diving about on the flowers, helping the bees find the right direction and stuff like that. Just like the Walt Disney films, you know. You've got to remember that these are energy. This is energy happening on a complete other level, and we clothe it in a kind of picture, right? If you go to China and you see pictures of their fairies, because they have all that as well, you know. You see their dragons and stuff. They look different for us, right? Because that's the way they see things, you know. But you still recognise it's a dragon. Look at the tongue, fire coming out the tail, you know. But it looks quite different, you know. Energy. But you don't have to involve yourself with it. To involve oneself with it is to... That's what I learned in the theology thing. Don't get too involved in the show, the stage that you think you're on, you know. You think you're on some kind of mission to find God like Indiana Jones and bring home the whatever and show everybody the way and or even just think you're going to get answers yourself. You're going to... It's interesting. It's like it's like, you know, these guys that did the ancient Egyptian kind of history and stuff, and archaeology and stuff, and then you get these guys that kind of make it up a wee bit that have just started appearing, you know. They go on Joe Rogan and stuff, and you know, well, religion's a bit like that on a mass scale, you know. You're talking about people that are adding quite a lot to quite a little, you know, to please a lot of people, and the more you add, the more people you'll please, because you're adding it for them. And then you start taking away from the little to please even more people who are not happy with what you add. They want you to start taking stuff away. So you're going to be like that, and then you're going to end up with this perfect, powerful, earthly kind of thing that achieves nothing spiritually, you know, and just kind of So then you get the, I shouldn't be talking about all this, you know, because it's my opinions. I was just about to go right in there. But no, you never denigrate a man's faith, you know, because these things are important to a lot of people. Nobody's going to bother listening to me anyway, are they? No, they are. And I feel very much that responsibility. You maybe want to take some things out there where I was just getting into... because, see, what I forget, and no, what everybody forgets is... no, everybody... maybe you're not ready for what you know if you start talking about it, if you're already talking about it. You just... oh... calm down a bit, folks. See, this is a thing that I notice people when people are getting interviewed, it works better when they're kind of like, if I was talking to you, which I hope I've been doing most of the time, innit? So, yeah. Aye. But see, when they start looking at her, mate, you've got to be a professional to do that, because you're breaking the fourth wall. You know, John Lennon used to do that, but he'd be getting interviewed and be going, and then he'd say something, and then he'd kind of look at the camera, because he knew everybody wanted to see him, and it would be a wee thrill for them. Back in the days, people were blown away by the whole, it was the combination of technology, musical taste, youth, a bit of money in the economy, a few jobs about, and everybody was just... it was a big celebration, you know, and the Beatles came along, and it was a lot of bands, and it was great times, you know. I live in those times, you know. I play these songs, and I try and add my bit to them and stuff like that, you know. But yeah, so I finished that course on religion, and it was called comparative religion or something like that, or, you know. Just a basic starter course to see if you were into it. I wasn't, because I goes, nah. And there was something about there was a real kind of... real kind of thing about the intellectuality of it all. There wasn't any... there wasn't any freewheeling. Everything had to be fucking referenced. If you were writing something, you couldn't just let... yeah, that's it. Well, where'd you get it? What, is this out your head? You know, I want the bishop blah blah for 300 AD and all that. And so you had to do all that. So, and that's a thing. Yeah, if you want to do that, well, I'll do that with music. You know, that's what fun is. So then I got back into rock and roll, didn't I? And I remember my pal. Oh, there's the mic again. Sorry, mate. I got back into the rock and roll, didn't I? And I remember my pal, who was an ex-Hare Krishna. He wasn't an ex-anything, he was a Hare Krishna, but he would just didn't shave his head and wear a hang anymore and date anymore, but he used to always go on about it, and I was into my thing, you know, and he used to always, he ended up not talking to me about anything, but he did say, so have you decided where your path's going? He used to come up with these astrology things and all that, and we'd sit and go, so, hey, hope that sounds like something you know, yeah, and I goes, well. And he comes up and he goes, so have you? And I goes, aye, getting back into the music, mate. I've had a vision, and I did actually. Yeah, I had this kind of thing that went, oh, you got to keep doing, you got to get back to that. And so he goes, no, Paul, mate, whatever you do, you don't want to do that. It's not good for you. It's because that's, you know. And I goes, nah, it's just it's the way it is, you know. And then I broke back up at him his astrology reading that he'd done for me the month before, and I goes, yeah, it fits with that, and he goes, he couldn't say nothing because I made it fit in my own way, you know, and that's what it is. It's what I go, yeah. And it's not let me down since, I'll tell you. Yeah, I've not made much money at it. I've not had that much recognition at it. Although a lot of people kind of know me in Glasgow, which is nice. It's really nice. I just do my wee thing. People go, oh, you still out there playing covers now? You know, play your own. I'm not gonna stand out in Sauchiehall Street and play my own songs. Yeah, I've got songs. I'm writing a wee kind of concept rock opera in the album about yeah. So I'm doing that, and I've got a wee kind of studio in my house and stuff. I'm doing that. But yeah, I love doing my wee versions of very early Beatles songs and stuff, and you know, I like adding my bit to the proceedings because when I do my own stuff, it's going to sound quite different because I've not played my own stuff for years. So when I do, it's going to sound pretty good, I think. Because that's what Dylan done. That's what any old school musician done. They just immersed themselves in lots of stuff that came before them, and you learn how to do your thing.
And do you think you ever developed your own style?
Yeah. I think I've definitely developed my own style now after this long. It's a certain thing I do when I play the guitar, and it's you would have to kind of see it taken. There's no point in trying to describe it, but it's not very technical. It's more to do with it's more to do with what can I call it? It's more to do with how you hit it. You're just creating a kind of thing, and when you sing with it, and you kind of you're hearing the beat as well. It's quite it's a bit like it's only in the last couple of years that I've started realising what a guy like Mick Jagger does, or even a guy like most of the singers I've been listening to for years. You know, very few good singers will sing exactly on the money, on the note. And one of the hardest things is try to just kind of try to get it right, if you know what I mean. But to get there, you've got to get it right. You've got to learn how it really is, and then start to kind of just play about with it a wee bit. And you'll get to a point where you'll find yourself, you won't be doing the same thing twice. And that's when you're kind of cooking. However much people get into you, however even good you are, if you're doing a different thing every time you do the same song, but it still is the same song, but you're doing something different with it from start to finish just about, then you're doing well. You're not falling into a pattern. You can hear it in just about every band these days where they will kind of be doing the same thing. And people like that, you know, but it didn't used to be like that. It used to be, it would actually get better every night. If you followed Jimi Hendrix for 3 years, you would see him getting better every night, you know, and coming up with different songs, and just, he was always doing, you know, there was none of this, let's play Creep for the fucking, you know. Hey, I wasn't mentioning any names, man. I'm not even saying name doing it. I mean, everybody doing it. How many versions of Creep is there, man?
You've not done one yourself yet, no?
What?
You've not done one yourself yet?
I've never touched Creep. I think when I first started busking, me and my younger colleague, what I was saying earlier on after Mellow, this was when about 2003, 4. Yeah, we would do Radiohead songs, and I think we done Creep. Yeah, but I didn't sing it. But no, and nobody else was doing it at that point. But that's rhymed, because already there was bar bands all the world over doing "Human Special." Here's my chance to swear in a song, so fucking special. I'm not standing singing I'm a creep. Fuck off, man. I've got plenty of people fucking saying that for me if they want. Should they so choose? I don't get Creep actually. No, I'm too obvious to be a creep. I'm too obvious a pervert.
And do you have a set kind of spot, or you just...
The only one I can really be bothered with these days, or that can be bothered with me as well these days, right now, is BHS at Sauchiehall Street. That's and I'll go there about once a week now. Not that often, but it's quality, not quantity, you know.
Yeah.
And I'll play. I'll play for about an hour. I'll start at I'll start at 9 in the morning, and I'll be playing Twist and Shout at 9 in the morning, mate. I don't start half quiet, you know. I just start, you know. And there might only be 5 people walking past in half an hour, but I'll get a couple of quid off me to start me off, and that starts off your day. And then you just keep playing. Before you know it, it's 12:30, and you've got to the humpy bit. You know, you're going, right, okay, yeah. You're going to, I'm dying to get home, but I know I've got to stifle that and make a few more quid and make it worthwhile. And then you get the nice things happening after that point. Sun starts coming out, kids fucking start coming up, and you know, brilliant. And people that really appreciate music, I really appreciate them, and they know that. And then some people they'll go out their way to come up and give you like a fiver or something, and more sometimes. Not that often, but it happens. And I mean, that's the way. It's love in a way, isn't it? I mean, it's not all about the money, but and most of the time these days I'll be spending it on strings and you know, phone data, so I can keep up. My 4 followers on YouTube can see what I've been up to and all that, you know. But aye.
And any specific reason why you like that spot?
Well, because the whole street's getting dug up just now, so the other bits in it are off. So I've got to I get there at a certain time in the morning, because if I tell anybody and they see this, they'll know what time I'm getting there, and then they'll get there before me, and then I'll have to get up earlier. There was a time about 5 years ago where all these kids started busking. It was after it was when all the tourists came for the Commonwealth Games, right? All these buskers came out the woodwork. It was the only time I wasn't doing it. Oh, hope I'm not doing that too much, man. It's aye. So that's why I'm trying to get a few gigs just now, but I'm not really suited to an indoor place right now, the way places are. They want to hear Snow Patrol songs and stuff like that, and you know, that's like, it's against my religion, mate, you know. That's what, you know, I was saying to my friend Carolyn, she runs this Buskers of Glasgow site. Do you know about that?
No.
Right, there's a site called Buskers of Glasgow, and some people on it get like millions of hits and all that kind of stuff. One time I got like 500,000 for a Doors song that I done, which I thought, people have got taste, that's good, man. And but usually it'd be a version of Caledonia or Creep, or what's the other one? Oh, Hallelujah. Oh, yeah. Oh, they like Hallelujah, man. See, you've got Hallelujah and Caledonia, and they songs now, they'll come up. Everybody does a version of them, you know. But I've been on it. And what was that I was saying? And I goes like that. Well, you know, Carolyn, it's like I'm doing a certain kind of thing, you know. And I was trying to say how kind of out of place I feel these days in the whole busking thing, you know. And I said, if you can imagine, I'm like the weird religion where the woman is totally covered and you don't get to see anything. I'm like that. It used to be quite popular at one time, but it isn't anymore. But it's still gone on, and that's what I am. That's what I feel like, you know. And she's laughing, you know. But I feel good about it. Just like that woman feels alright about it covered up. If she does, I mean, I don't know about the complete covering up. Let's not get political and all that. But no, people have got their own cultures and stuff. And do you know what? See that whole covering up thing where you get a whole woman covered up whole completely? That's a very rare thing. And the fact that you'll see that a couple of times in Glasgow doesn't mean to say there's a lot of it about. It just means that these people have had to escape from a certain situation the way a lot of other people have had. I mean, they wouldn't, nobody would choose to have to walk about Glasgow like that, but they stick to their religion, don't they? So you've got to kind of, they're not doing anybody. I mean, it's not as if they've got a bomb under there or anything, is it? You know, see all that bullshit, man, you know. You probably maybe want to cut that bit out, I mean, we have been talking about religion. There's that side of it as well. This is a thing you learn. This is the most fascinating thing I got after the course. There was one guy that he was a professor, and we used to joke about him. We used to say, "Oh, all these guys have wrote books and all that, but this guy's wrote the Bible, because he was involved in a translation of the Bible." I said, so that was quite a big deal, and but his main thing was cults, and so you would go to him to learn about cult, and that was like, and he would sit and talk to us maybe after the class. He was one of these guys that would go to the pub, and we'd sit, and I got talking to him one day, and I goes, "So what's all this cult thing you're into, and he goes, "No, I just think it's interesting how the people don't try and understand these things, because it was just after the Waco thing, it was just after that." And I was going, "Wait, you mean there's a reason for somebody like David Koresh?" And he was going, well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if the outside world had tried and dealt with these people and stuff like that, So you've got to look at cults like that. You got to look at on them as it's a bit like somebody that's ill, but it's a bit patronising, isn't it? But it's a bit like it's no more patronising than somebody that can't walk temporarily, I mean, if that isn't a bad position to be in, so but they can get fixed, and cults are like that as well. These people aren't inherently, it's just temporary, and if you can actually get involved with them, just what you'll get some people that won't want to go to the dentist or that won't want to go to the hospital, No, you want to start champing their door and all that and going, no, come on, here's a packet of turnips, tea cakes through the letterbox. That kind of thing, Talk to the bastards, Try and be a living example of no being in a cult, because they'll go to you. Well, what's your secret? You seem to be. I've been searching for happiness. I've been in the jungle with this mad bastard for 12 years, and he's now got my missus, and I had to escape and all that, and I never got one happy day in my life for the mad bastard, and he's got all my money, he's got my house, right? So what's your secret? Why are you sitting there fucking telling me what to do, if I'm a counsellor or something, Well, if you're a counsellor, you've got to be actually a step up for the person you're counselling, ain't you? Huh? And that's got to show, that's got to be real, and that's got to help them. And if you aren't, then that won't help them, So that's how you get the absurd situation of these guys who have got, they've got things going on in their head that aren't too good for them, and they're going to like a psychiatrist, and they know more than the psychiatrist. And if they say that just comes across as part of their passive-aggressive fucking personality disorder, that they can't accept advice. No, some people aren't qualified to get it. No, everybody is. It's a calling, being a healer or whatever, I mean, I don't know if you've ever came across people that they walk into the room and just everything just gets a bit better. People start to come to life and everybody kind of likes them and stuff like that. I used to look at people like that and go, oh man, fucking bastard. You know what I mean? That kind of envy, but a good kind of envy. Like, I wish I was like that, And but they just seem this kind of carefree thing. But I try and be a wee bit like that, because I used to watch people like that years ago and go, it's a brilliant way to be. And then sometimes you'll find you're actually fortunate enough to be in a room, and there is people going, oh, it's good to see you, Paul, and all that. That's a fucking luxury, A lot of people don't get that, And then when really famous people get it because they're really famous for the wrong reasons or whatever, it becomes a burden to them or whatever, But that, again, that is only because they're... I used to have a girlfriend, she was French, and they have this saying where you are farting higher than your own arse, right? Meaning, you've no got the thing to back it up. You're more famous than the thing you're meant to be famous for, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So that becomes a burden to you. I mean, somebody like Jimi Hendrix, I mean, the only time he ever got a heavy time was for his management. I don't know if you know, but they were kind of, it was a gangster dude that managed him, you know. And a lot of people say that's maybe why he didn't live too long and stuff like that. He was getting too much pressure and might even have been done in at the last minute. They already kind of have came to that conclusion about Brian Jones, that he got done in by some guy. Just investigations into mad hippies that took drugs back then weren't a priority for the police, you know.
Just went under the radar.
Aye, or even just they'd know something and they'd be, you know, bad at money, you know. The most interesting things I find, if you're studying all the different kind of, let's call them cults, because they are, no matter how big it is, it's a cult, you know. Cult, the word cult comes from culture. Culture is a thing that you're surrounded by, that is around you, like architecture, everything. So when you're in a cult, you're totally surrounded by it. It's within you and without you. It's part of your environment. You're part of its environment. It's culture. It's a cult. Just what fashion is a culture. You know, music, everything. If you get involved in it, you'll get involved in it. It's the way they come up with explanations for the natural happenings, and the way that they can be quite truthful, if you know what I mean, quite strikingly truthful. Just what you got to imagine, it's only in the last couple of 100 years that we've started actually thinking that we're surrounded. It used to be just the solar system, and that was only 300 years ago we came to that conclusion that there's actually a solar system, right? Okay, we'll go with that. You know? So to have that picture, and to have a kind of, you've got this up there and you've got this guy and he's just letting you go on with it, and I actually preferred the ones where you had the Vikings and they used to come up with these kind of, the forces of the elements. This is what I'm talking about, right? This is an example of what I mean. Right, so you've got the wind, right? And you're like, where the hell does that come from? I can't even see it. It's an eternal mystery in their days. You know what I mean? Because I'm no scientist, none of that. They're like children in that way, you know. And so they come up with a thing, and at the time you would be living kind of half in your imagination and half in the real world. So you would blend the two things. So you would look up at the clouds and you would actually start, and you might even have took a few mushrooms or drank some homebrew, which would have been made with mushrooms. There was things growing everywhere. It was the same with the Native Americans. They wouldn't be stoned out their box. I mean, you know, it's not like that. But they would have been in a certain kind of environment, you know, which we don't have anymore, which we've denied to ourselves through the intellectual domination of, you know, what inevitably had to happen to actually wake up, like, from childhood and go, right, wait a minute, aye, right, big fucking planet going, whoa, and it's tilted and that's where you get the seasons, and great, right. But back then they would come up with pictures for things and characters, and they would even have like a soap opera going on and stuff like that. And it's the same way, right up to Christianity, they've got a narrative going, and you find the same narrative in a lot of religions before Christianity. And there's always a kind of end of world kind of thing happening, a new age, a new dawn, and stuff. And as here we are in it. I believe that we're now experiencing it. You know, I mean, when you think of the awareness we've got these days, we didn't used to have that. You know, we used to accept blindly, and you were a real weirdo if you questioned authority. You know, 100 years ago. But now it's completely, we know what's going on. That's a good thing. Get a few more 100 years and, you know, should start to get a bit better. like wandered a bit there, didn't it? But yeah. Aye, I mean, here's the thing. The thing I do like about Christianity is that it's a very powerful thing, but it's a very simple thing. There's no a lot to it, you know. Unlike a lot of religions, that you basically have to study it even to be a follower, you know. But with Christianity, you just kind of have to get on with your life and try and be nice to people. And that was a radical concept 2,000 years ago, when people had each other as slaves, and they would kill members of their own family as a matter of, you know, the higher up you went up in the echelons, your family was the one you didn't want to trust. You know, it was all just horrible, backstabbing, and, as I said, slavery, and women were of no account at all, and children were used as, you know, whatever, you know, up chimneys and whatever. And, I mean, I'm talking 2,000 years ago. They probably didn't have to put children up chimneys in the Middle East. They probably didn't have burn many fires, right? But there was other things. I mean, women and children were of no account at all. And that's the two things that Christianity really kind of, or the actual scriptures really kind of, it's very different about them from any other religion. The actual character of Jesus in the Gospels is very attached to the women in it, and they're all very loyal to him in a way where the guys just don't come into it. You know, you've got Mary Magdalene, who is like there's a lot of stuff left out at a certain point, a few hundred years after it started, you know. But there's a lot of different things that you can see. That here's an interesting thing. When that Dan Brown thing appeared, you know, the Da Vinci Code thing, that got a lot of people thinking about, you know, maybe. But then they start running away with it and stuff. It's easy enough today. Basically, what you've got to do is you've got to see it as a kind of hobby. It's like building a model aeroplane or something. You don't want to get too emotionally involved in it. You don't want to. That wasn't a very good analogy. My future, I don't know. I feel it kind of going towards it. I think I'm going to be still playing guitar. I'm maybe going to be an even better singer. I don't see how that's possible now. But no, people tell me I'm getting better, and I'm aware that I'm getting better. And I'll give you a bit of advice about singing. If you're smoking, try and stop, because it really got better when I stopped smoking, man, and that was 5 years ago, and it just kept going. And if you want to fart, if you want to burp, let it out, man. Maybe no day in the same room as somebody, right? Maybe just fucking go into the corridor, open the door quietly, go like that. Let it out. Don't keep it in. What our advice? If you want to start singing, you're maybe not going to be that good to start off with. Even Jim Morrison wasn't that good. I've heard singers terrible, and it's just all about you keep doing it. When people start telling you you're no good, you should stop singing, right? That's when you're getting good, right? You got to get past that stage, right? See them as evil demons that surround you and try and stop you fulfilling your mission. They don't know it, but they just don't understand what you're doing. You've got to go through a period where it might not sound that good to other people. The first time I knew I was singing good was when I done that Beatles song, Oh Darling. It's on Abbey Road, I think, and it's Paul McCartney when he goes, Oh darling, please believe me, I'll never do you no harm. Right, it does that now. But then there's a later on bit, right, and then it goes, boom boom, well told me. You know, he goes right up there. You don't need me anymore. Well, you know, I nearly broke down in cry. You know, right? That sounds like I'm overdoing the. But when you put that on top here, that's what he does. He's doing that kind of thing. And I remember doing that, and I haven't done that for years. And I just came out with it there because. And I haven't even done that, but it affected me because that was my breakthrough vocal thing. Because I remember my mate came up, and he'd always went, "I did no bad in the singing." And I goes, listen to S. Gordon, right? When he came in, he goes, I give it a. He goes, oh fuck, Paul, you're there, man. You're breaking through. You're becoming a singer and all that. I goes, there you go, you know. And it's a good thing being a singer, you know. It's not a good thing when you think you just have to stand there and go through the motions, you know. I see a lot of kids doing that these days. And that's fair enough. I used to do it myself. I'd done it for years. I was in a band for years and we used to tour and all that. And there would be nights where I would just stand like that. But that was my problem, you know. But that can affect you, you know. So don't feel you have to do it too much, and don't. Here's another bit of advice, right? Here's another bit of advice. If you want to be any kind of performer where you're going to be impressing people, and that's a good feeling when that starts happening, and they're going to want to say something about it. They really are. They can't help themselves. And they just come up to you and they go, by the way, that was, you know. And I see a lot of people's instinct is to go, oh, well, that's, you know, that's very kind of you. Yeah, well, I'm not really that good. And they actually say, well, I'm not, yeah, I wish I was that good. No, don't. Just accept the compliment, right? Because that person, it means a lot to them to say that to you. That's took a lot. That might be some miserable bastard that no gave anybody a compliment for years, and you've just broke something out of him, right? And he's came up to you. So what you say is, thanks very much, mate. I'm really glad you get into it, you know, because, yeah. And sometimes I'll go, no, everybody gets it, you know, so it's fucking good that you get it, mate. I'm actually patronising them a wee bit and go, that's good that you get it, you know. That's a good, I just started getting into the habit of that, and I realised that's how you deal with people. That's how you deal with people loving you, or even liking you. You accept it. Your first instinct is to go, I don't deserve this, because for some reason we're brought up with all that bullshit in our head, you know. I mean, one fucking week in a playground when you're a kid will do that to you. In any age, especially this age, we all it's kaleidoscopic identity things and stuff, you know, that kids have got to deal with these days. Through their parents, solely through their parents. None of this has been going on in kids' heads. It's all just been, you always had wee guys that would play with the girls and girls that would play with the guys. And fuck, it'd be in children's books, you know, like Famous Five and all that. That was full of sex, you know. You know, all these kids at kind of different ages and the skinny dipping and all that, and you know. I mean, Julian was definitely just prepubescent, wasn't he? He was like 12 or something like that, you know. Always 12, they never get any older, you know. I used to love their books, man. That was, I never knew what middle class was till I was about 27 or something, seriously. See, I really moved up the West End and stayed in the West End for a few years. After about 5 years in the West End, I twigged what middle class was. I really didn't know. I used to watch things like The Good Life and all that, and think, that's just, that's funny, innit? That's, people don't really live like that, do they? I never even entered my head that people, you have houses like that. You walk into the house and it'll be kind of, there'll be plants everywhere and stuff, and it'll be a drawing room, but, you know, fuck, you know. You have like the fucking Guardian on the couch instead of the Daily Record and all that, you know.
So do you think you'll be singing till your dying days then?
Aye, I'll be trying. I say I'm quite interested in just doing wee things to keep myself healthy, try to live no eat too much crap and stuff like that. Because it's a stony up thing, playing the guitar and singing. It's definitely a stony up thing, and it's a thing where you're very aware of your body, and your body's your instrument kind of thing, you know. And people like that, and you need something to kind of, yeah. I'll be. I'd like to think that things come around in cycles, and if I just keep doing and getting a wee bit better, the cycle will come back round. I mean, it happened with Oasis when they first broke big. When they broke big, people had been done with it. They were having these things like, remember Suede and the Stone Roses were over at that point. They just done something really. That was like the crowning of all goth. Right, that's what Stone Roses was. The whole 80s led to this big flower that came just before the 90s, and that was the Stone Roses. And that was a beautiful thing, but they couldn't keep it together. Too young, too much, too big, too soon. But then Oasis came along and started doing this, what, fucking status quo music, you know. We thought that was dead by that point. Everybody was trying to be dead trendy. That's how Blur were already gone, you know, that kind of trendy London kind of thing. So it was between Blur, Suede, and there was all these other wee bands cropping up. Smash hits bands, you know, they would appear in like bands like Sleeper and Elastica, all that kind of thing. No much, very posy, very, very posy. And then that's when Belle and Sebastian came out. Do you remember them? Aye. I used to know a couple of them. And I remember got to see them when they were just kind of touting for their record deal and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden they were quite... And they're good. They're a nice wee... that's a nice wee kind of 80s vibe as well. That kind of... Nice wee kind of 80s vibe turning into something else. And in Glasgow, we used to call that a kind of jangly kind of sound, a twee sound even. There was a band called the Pastels, they were kind of a bit like that. But us, no, I mean, I've never been in fashion, you know. But you never know, it'll just, you know, come right back round again. I've got this album on the go, I'm demoing this kind of thing, it's quite good. Quite a few wee hooks.
And how do you plan to get it out there? Is it just going to be a case of putting out kind of social media, YouTube, that kind of thing?
I've just print CDs and just give them to people. Go at it, go play that, and I know a few people with a few radio stations and stuff. They're always looking for something to play in these wee like government radio and stuff, you know. Get it out that way and just pass it about, and you know, if somebody wants to fucking remix one of them or something, then you end up like that.
It might blow up on TikTok or something like that, you never know.
Yeah.
You'll be doing wee dances and stuff to your
Wellerman. Not Wellerman. Wellerman, aye. I mean, he's got a few quid now, hasn't he? Good on him, you know. But aye. No, I don't think I'm ever gonna. If I ever see a Gangnam Style happening on me, I'll fucking pull the plug. Fuck yeah. Fuck that. And, yeah. No, one hit wonders is okay. That's fine. But you don't want absolutely ate alive, you know. Nah, you do, Paul. You do. Fuck's sake, kidding yourself on here. Bring it on. No, yeah, it's just, I'll be quite honest, it's just very recently I've started to get my kind of biorhythms in order, in sync. Just got over for drinking, drugging, and just generally depressing myself and not having the energy to do anything and all that kind of thing that you think is inevitable when you get to my age, you know, which is quite old now. But I've been working on it, and I think I could start getting out now and start being able to talk to people and sit and fucking what this, man. What's all this about, man? Right. Yeah, I wonder what this will look like. I'm gonna hate this when I see it, man. I'm fucking gonna hate this.